So my name is Melanie Dillon. I'm the Programme Development Officer for RADAR, which is a rare disease registry, and we're run by the UK Renal Registry and based in Bristol. So my talk today is to give you a general overview of what RADAR is and what we're trying to do in the field of rare kidney diseases. I've got some information leaflets and some information about forthcoming patient information days that we're supporting as well. So please see me at breaks and lunch times if you like anything about that. A bit of background about RADAR. We're a renal association initiative, and the idea is we're going to pull information from patients with certain rare kidney diseases. As we've already heard this morning, a lot of these conditions are so extremely rare that a consultant may only see 1 or 2 patients with that condition over the course of their whole career. They therefore don't develop the expertise and in some cases the interest in these conditions. If we can combine the information from patients with these conditions across the UK and make that information available to clinicians who do have a specific interest in that disease, we can really start to develop new treatments and new research for these patients. It will give us a much better idea of how these conditions affect patients by following them throughout the course of their lifetimes. As we've already heard, transition is a very major issue in rare diseases to make sure that the information isn't lost as a child moves from paediatric to adult care. RADAR is managed by a series of rare disease groups, which are made up of expert clinicians in that condition. So Larissa is the lead for the ARPKD rare disease group. Another Birmingham Children's Hospital consultant, Sally Holton, is the lead for the oxalosis or primary hyperoxaluria group. We've got clinicians at Birmingham Queen Elizabeth Hospital as well. So we've got a lot of expertise focused in the Midlands. Bit of history about RADAR. We began back in 2009 with paediatric patients, recruited for just 2 conditions, steroid-resistant nephrotic syndrome and I'm just going to say MPGN rather than mispronounce it. In 2012 we then expanded to other conditions, still in paediatrics, and then we went to adult centres in autumn 2013. We have UK-wide ethics approval for both adult and patient conditions, and we're now open to over 30 different rare diseases, with new ones coming on board at least once a month. This is our list of current conditions. You see there's quite a lot of them, and they vary from the extremely rare to the borderline not really rare at all, when we take in vasculitis and autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. We also, as you can see there, we've got pregnancy and CKD in there as well. Obviously pregnancy itself, not rare, but when combined with chronic kidney disease as well, it falls into this category. And all of these conditions are open for both adult and paediatric recruits. Some current statistics, as of the first of the month, 7,684 UK patients. This has actually just got over the 8,000 mark now. From 72 renal units, which is the vast majority of renal units in the UK. And we've got a further 5 units in setup. Majority of those units are England. We've got 2 in Wales, Edinburgh and Glasgow, and we're currently trying to set Belfast up, but we are having some issues there. But in theory, we do have UK-wide coverage. Our recruitment has really shot up in the last 12 months, as you can see by this graph, and we are averaging over 500 new patients each month. We had a relaunch of the system in February, coinciding with the massive increase there in numbers. And this has made it much easier for sites to enter more data and to extract more useful data back from the system. This table shows the number of recruits per condition or per rare disease group, and you can see on there which are the most common of the rare conditions. So autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease at the top accounts for quite a large number of our recruits, as does vasculitis and various forms of nephrotic syndrome as well. Some of them are extremely rare, so we only have 2 patients for pure red cell aplasia. Fibromuscular dysplasia only opened on the 30th of September, so we didn't have any recruits in by the 1st of October, but we are open to them now. RADAR links in with a system called Patient View, which is an online portal for patients to access their own results, their own medications, their own clinic letters. This is available for patients outside of radar as well, for anyone who's on renal replacement therapy, so dialysis or on a transplant waiting list. Radar patients are given access to patient view so they can see their own data online. There are a few data fields which go into radar which don't go into patient view, for example concerned with the genetics, and this is it particularly if the genetics affect another family member, which we wouldn't have on patient view because it affects another member of their family. But the majority of the data that goes into radar, the patients can see themselves as well. And patient view is in use at most renal units across the UK, and it is expanded into non-renal areas as well. We do have some sites which aren't on patient view, and they enter the data manually in radar. These screens just give you an idea of the type of data we're collecting. So we collect basic demographics. This is just so we can identify the patients at the hospital level. Identifiable data stays within the trust. The only other people who can see it are select members of the renal registry team on controlled circumstances and with all being information governance trained. If a researcher wants to contact a patient about a patient information day or clinical trial, they'll do so via their consultant. So if they'll contact us, we will tell that researcher who that patient's consultant is. They would write, phone, email that consultant. It's up to the consultant then to pass the information on to the patient if they feel it is appropriate. And this is so patients feel they're not going to be bombarded with information about the studies which they may or may not be interested in, and it protects their personal data. So we do collect consultants' information for that reason. You can see along the top some of the other fields we collect, things about genetics, family history, diagnosis, results, which are blood and urine results, and any medications the patients are on. Some of the conditions also ask for additional data fields, so this is for primary diagnosis for MPGM patients, looking at how the patient was diagnosed and when. A bit about information security. All the data is anonymised and password protected, so as I said, only the patient's own clinician within their hospital's research team can see the identifiable data. The patients are given a secure login via patient view to see their own data online, and I mentioned that identifiable data stays in the trust. The members of a rare disease group, if they want access to this information, can only see anonymous data. So they would see, for example, that Birmingham Children's has 10 all-pause patients. They can see the details of those patients in terms of their results, their medications. They cannot see names, addresses, dates of birth, or any contactable information. So why should patients join radar? It gives them a way to access their clinical data online via patient view. It gives them the ability to be contacted about potential research studies or patient information days that they may be interested in. Any further studies, they're perfectly entitled to consent or not consent if they'd like to take part. Does it affect their treatment? Does it affect their membership of radar in any way? It also helps patients feel they can contribute to the increase in knowledge of their condition, which we know from patient information days, patients are so keen on taking part in to have any reason to help researchers further the interest and the expertise in their own conditions. For hospitals and clinicians, why should they join radar? Radar's portfolio study, so it's on the NHR portfolio, is classified as renal, co-adopted by Child Health. This means that renal units do get a certain amount of financial support for recruiting patients. UK-wide ethics, classes a research registry, which helps in terms of the approval and the setup process. Doesn't have to go through separate research and development approval, which can vastly decrease the time it takes to get the study set up compared to more clinical trials. It also helps clinicians to share their knowledge with others, with other colleagues, and for some conditions they get access to genetic testing for these patients, which wouldn't be available or would be available for much more long-winded and costly process outside of radar. Just a word about rarerenal.org, which Larissa mentioned at the start. This is a website which provides patient and clinician information on all the conditions covered by radar. It has links to patient support groups and personal stories, which we find the patients find really helpful. It also advertises for patient information events. So we've got one coming up in December for Barter's and Gittleman syndrome, and one in Birmingham in January for primary hyperoxaluria. And we advertise those on the website, along with patient surveys, other studies which are taking part, which we feel patients might be interested in. Just with our contact details, feel free to come and talk to me over breaks and lunch times, and I've got leaflets if anyone's interested. Thank you very much.